Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. You're joining me here in my garage with my 2024 Tesla Model Y here in the deep metallic blue. It's been about 1 year since I've owned this car, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a review of what I've thought about for the past year with this car, and how it's handled, and how it's been riding. So let's get into it. So I've had this car for about almost a year exactly on Wednesday. So got this back in May of 2024. It's been a great year with this car. So I've been making a lot of full self-driving videos for the past few months to kind of showcase exactly what this car can do. But I thought I'd go ahead and give a good review here in terms of what I think about this car, and how it's been riding for the past year. We're about 17,000 miles deep into this, for the past, almost exactly 1 year coming up on Wednesday. So I'm just going to give you kind of a quick rundown of my thoughts in terms of what I think about the car, um, how it's been riding, how it's been feeling, any type of service I've had to do to it in the past year. So let's get into it. So like I said, I've owned this car for the past year. I got this in May of 2024, after I got a new job. I live on the south side of Colorado Springs in Colorado, and I work on the north side of Colorado Springs. And so this was kind of a no-brainer in terms of what the next steps were for what I needed in a car. I don't need gas anymore or anything like that with an electric car. So we went the Tesla route. Always been a fan of Tesla and what Elon Musk has done with this company. And so that's kind of what happened. And so back in May of 2024, Tesla was offering out a deal back in May of last year, 0.9% financing. I believe it was on Model Ys, and it might have been on Model 3s as well. I can't remember exactly, but the Model Y was always the type of Tesla that we were gunning for when we were looking for a new car. So 0.9% financing. Went and test drove one that day when I got the email saying that they were offering that financing offer. Set up an appointment, went and test drove one because we'd never driven a Tesla before as well. And so then we ended up on this car right here. So we got it in the deep metallic blue. We kind of we have two blue cars. Our Nissan Rogue, as well, which is not here in the garage, is blue, basically almost the exact same blue. But here in the past year, we put it on 17,526 miles. I mean, this is our go-to car for most everyday usage. Like I said, I drive this to work constantly, up on the north side of town. We've driven this to Denver multiple times from Colorado Springs, taking it into the mountains. We haven't done a big road trip yet necessarily on this car. That's actually probably going to come up here pretty soon in November, Thanksgiving time. We're going to drive out to California and go to Disney. So that'll be the first time that we take it out. So hopefully we can make some videos in too, to kind of showcase where this is at. But so let's kind of jump into the settings a little bit in terms of what you get when you look at buying a Tesla, for anybody who's looking to buy a new Tesla. So we can kind of go through all these settings and what I've thought about it for the past year. So it's kind of just, like I said, the in-depth 1 year review. I'm not going to take this for a drive. I have tons of videos on that already, that you can kind of jump into. So if you want to check those out as well here on the channel. But let's go through all the settings for somebody who's looking to buy a Tesla, so I can kind of give you my thoughts on, running down the entire menu here, to kind of showcase in terms of what goes into this and what you're looking for. So if you're new to a Tesla, I mean, obviously you're looking from your main screen here. This took obviously me time to go through as well and learn as I became a new owner of this car. So you can control a lot of your apps from the main screen as well, from your navigation to the camera as well. So we're gonna get rid of that. Your dash cam, your energy consumption, as well. So you can kind of look at that for the past 200 miles, in terms of what I've been getting in the past 200 miles. It's kind of hard to show, obviously over the past year, but in terms of energy consumption, projected range 234 miles. That's showing here, especially with where the charge is right now. But this gives you a lot of detailed information. Sitting in park, what you can get throughout of your energy since your last drive, since the last charge, and then obviously your drive as well. But going back in, right, you got your phone, your calendar, you got messages, you can pull up Zoom. I've actually done that before. Listen to a Zoom meeting driving home one day from work that I need to be a part of. Your theater is all of your, your Netflix, your Hulu, and your Disney Pluses. You've used this a lot, especially sitting in a grocery store parking lot when the wife runs in, kids in the back seat, pulling up Netflix or pulling up Disney, or if he's doing something on YouTube. Times I've supercharged or charged at fast chargers, I've watched YouTube videos and so on. So it's been great. You got your arcade. My son loves playing with this area as well, which has been great. So if you're looking into getting into this world of EV and Tesla and you have kids, this is fantastic. He was actually playing Beach Buggy Racing 2 this morning. Wanted to just play in the car. He has unlocked all the characters, so he's super excited about that. You got your browser, your manual, your Bluetooth settings. You can pull up the radio, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Amazon stuff, Sirius XM as well, and then you got a lot of other controls that you can hit up there. And we're looking at our main controls, from lights to the different types of settings that you can do. You can hold your mirrors if you need to. You can save that location. Say that you want your mirrors folded in right there. I don't, because this is home. Your child lock, your window locks, your wipers. I've made a lot of comments on this in multiple full self-driving videos about the auto wiper feature. That's what I've noticed over the past years. It's not the best necessarily. It does a decent job as well, but I don't think it's really the best when it comes to that. You can adjust, if you're new, you have the ability to adjust your mirrors using the left scroll wheel on your steering wheel. You can hit the recording button for Sentry and all those things. You can adjust the height of your steering wheel as well through this. You can open your glove box. I have it protected by a pin, but that'll open up your glove box as well. And then you can put it into car wash mode. And what it does in this mode, if you've never washed your car, I have a video on this as well if you want to take a look. I've taken this through touchless car washes and hand washed it myself, but the big thing is it locks the charge port in the back. That way water doesn't get in there, and especially if you're hand washing the car, you're not going to run into the port opening up as you go over it. Wipers turn off, locks everything else up, keeps the climate recirculating. You can clean your screen by going into clean screen mode, or screen cleaning mode, excuse me, using a soft cloth. I have a screen protector on here. Hold it to exit out of there. So that's one of the big things. That's the first thing I did, was I put a screen protector on this. Even before I took delivery of the car, I had already ordered. It's a Spigen screen protector. It's basically a big computer. It's a big iPad that you want to be able to protect at all times. And then you can adjust your brightness right there. Dynamic wise, I've kept this thing in chill mode over the past year. I think that's the better setup for me. It doesn't put so much wear on the tires. This is not a performance Model Y. This is just a long range all-wheel drive. So I keep it in chill mode once in a while, and it's funny being in chill mode when you go to standard. You can tell the difference, but I'm not here to necessarily drive fast, but I'm here to save as much money as I can and save energy as well. Steering weight, I kept at standard the whole time, and then I keep that applying brakes when regenerative braking is limited. You get your charging settings, right? It shows you the last time I supercharged up in Denver, Colorado, Centennial, Colorado. The last time I supercharged back in April. I pay for the full self-driving in this car, so I have that triggered on. So when you're looking at full self-driving settings, starting FSD from park, right, being able to just hit that button. I don't need the brake confirming that. Have actual smart summon on, which I've used only a couple times as well, because I don't want to be too lazy and I can walk to my car from when I'm at the grocery store. You got the different locks, so the different phones or watches that are connected to this. So you have mine, you have my wife's. Keeping the lights in auto, but you can obviously make those adjustments. Turn the front fog lights on. Auto turn signals, auto cancel. So if you flip your turn signal on, it gets over, it'll turn them off for you, so you don't have to turn it This is one of the newer settings that I can adjust the passenger seat right there, moving it up and down. You can control the climate there as well. Then you have your display settings, right? From brightness to the appearance, in terms of, do you want it in dark mode, do you want it in light mode, or do you want it in auto? So when it gets dark, it goes into that dark mode. That's kind of where I keep it. There's that screen clean mode again. That's how you save dash cam footages and the different languages that you want for it, text sizes, the energy displayed, whether you want percent or distance. So that changed up there to 220 miles, or you can keep that at 75%. And then, how you want your tire pressure to read and things like that. I have this scheduled to precondition every morning. I charge at midnight every night when I plug in, and I'll show you that here in a second as well. When I got set up here in the garage. And then you get your safety features, from Sentry mode, and where you want to exclude it Sentry mode, and especially anymore with how people are behaving towards Tesla anymore. I keep the Sentry mode on a lot to make sure that the car is safe. Viewing the camera from the mobile app, having dash cam on auto, right? I keep that right there. So if there is something that happens on the road, I can hit that real quick. That's kind of my preference. But you can change that to honking and a few other different things, right? Having a pin for the glove box, another safety feature, valet mode if you give it to a valet. Here's your service menu. So I've rotated the tires one time. I attempted to rotate the tires a second time. The guy came out, first time they came out to the house, rotated the tires about 7,000 miles into it. About 14,000 miles into it, they came out. He said we didn't need to rotate. So checked the tread depth from the front to the back tires and said it wasn't necessary, so it was $0 charge. I do have a service appointment scheduled for Tuesday because this tire right here, I just finally found probably the nail or the piece of shard that's into the tire is leaking. So I'm taking this into Tesla on Tuesday afternoon to go get that tire looked at, whether they can repair it or they have to replace it. We shall see. But for the past few mornings, I've had, I take it up to 44 PSI and it drops down to 40 by the next morning. So there obviously is an issue. So that service appointment is scheduled. It doesn't show that on here. Some of the new things you can look at is your battery health. Right over the past year, I'm not going to run a full battery test because that tops off to 100, I think, and drains it down to get the actual percentage. But we are in the green. It's been 1 year, so it should be fine. Software-wise, running the new spring update of the 14.3.1, still running on FSD 13.2.8 as well, and I got a bunch of videos on that. You have your navigation settings that you can go through, in terms of like if you want to use HOV lanes, if you want to avoid tolls or ferries or highways. That's a newer feature, I believe. Shows fast charging stations and destinations for third-party chargers. Well, then you have your trip settings. So over the lifetime here, 17,526 miles. Used a total of 4,291 kilowatts an hour in terms of total energy. So the average energy, about 244 watt hours per mile for the car. I'm pretty sure that's pretty good. I'm not too well versed in the world of how batteries run and the watt hours per mile and those types of things, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty good. So that's my lifetime settings for the car, and like I said, this is over the past year. When I had Tesla insurance, this was projecting my driving habit, so it does it pretty well. I don't use Tesla insurance anymore. I switched over to Farmers, where we have our other car and have our house just to kind of bundle up. But when I had it, it was projecting at one point, my yearly driving habits between 17 and 18,000 miles. And that's basically hit exactly where it's showing. Then you have your Wi-Fi settings, right? I'm connected to our home Wi-Fi. You have your Bluetooth settings. My phone is connected, obviously. And then your upgrade pages, I have nothing to upgrade right now. So those kind of give you a little bit of a rundown of the settings in terms of what's going on inside the car and the things that I've used over the past year. So let me take you out into the garage, show you how I charge this thing. Okay, in terms of the charging setup that I have here in my garage, I'm going to kind of show you what I've done. Put a mobile connector here into my garage. So one of the first things I did when I bought my Tesla a year ago, about maybe 5 days after I took delivery of it, was I had an electrician come and do the work to install this Tesla wall connector here in my garage. So I did not elect for the mobile connector that would come in the bag and that you can keep into the front of your car, but I had an electrician come out and get this thing wired up. And so he tied it right into my electrical panel. So I didn't spend too much money necessarily of getting this thing set up here into the garage. Cost me about, in terms of buying the actual wall connector and having the electrician come out, ran me about $1,400. Did get a little bit of a discount because I'm in education, which was great. So shout out to them for doing that. And that was, like, I believe, Dr. Electric that came out. So a little plug for them if you're in the Colorado Springs area. They did offer me a educator discount to get this installed. So in terms of buying this piece, and then buying or having them come out and run all of this, the one thing I did have problems running into with this was I initially bought this on Amazon. So here's my recommendation: don't do that. When they came out, they got everything hooked up here into the electrical panel, got everything tied in, and then when they actually went to go put this on, there was a lot of issues having the wall connector actually connect. And so they tried to plug it into the car. We got it maybe working for like 2 seconds, but none of these lights were necessarily popping on, which I knew needed to pop on. And so the guy, checked everything in terms of the connection that's behind here all the way into the panel itself. And he, everything was reading exactly right. Said maybe there needed to be an update or something like that. So they kind of left. I saw that they had this in stock at Best Buy, so I was able to run up to Best Buy. I got a whole new wall connector, and I was able to pop this on, and everything, boom, got moving pretty quick and turned right on. So at that point, I knew that the issue was the one that I bought from Amazon, so I was able to return this to Amazon. Like I said, I picked this up at Best Buy, so my recommendation, that could have just been a fluke at that point, but this is like a $450 unit, I believe, for these wall connectors. And so I would recommend that you don't necessarily maybe take it off Amazon, buy it from Tesla. Like I said, the local Best Buy here in Colorado Springs had these in stock. So when I went and got this, popped it right on, boom, like I said, it was able to turn on. And so like I said, this is all ran into our electrical panel. He was able to add the 2 slots he needed to. He moved, so I didn't have to upgrade this panel at all to get this installed into the garage. And so they were able to add what they needed to add here. And here's where the charger is. So that's my biggest recommendation for anybody. And over the past year is that I come home every single night and I'm able to plug this in to my car. So let me go show you how I plug it in. So like I said, from the get-go here, I was able to install this straight. We didn't have to run too much wires from the panel to the actual wall connector. And for the longest time, I was actually wrapping up the cord that we have here and having this every single night, wrapped up around here. So and this basically runs down and runs right over here. And so what I did like a month ago, I believe it was, is that I got this little piece from Spigen and put this mounted here right at the edge of my garage, because this is about right where I plug it in. So this thing just pops right out. I'm able to just get plugged in like that. And like I said, and that comes running all the way back over here. And so I just basically keep this cable. I don't wrap this up anymore onto the actual wall connector itself. I just let it kind of hang down here. This door still opens pretty easy right there, so I don't have any issues right there. And then basically it runs all the way over here. So when I get up in the morning, I'm able to just disconnect this. I stick this right here. Okay. And then when I come home at night, I just basically take this out of here. And then I plug in and get ready, right? And it's blue because I wait till about midnight before this thing starts charging. So that's basically every night here how I keep this car charged up. And so charging here at home, in my opinion, is the best way to go for if you own a Tesla or any EV, is to be able to get a charger installed in your garage. And so basically you come home at night, you top off what you really need, and then you're able to get going in the morning. So, like I said, I would say 98 to 99% of the time I'm charging here at home, and I'm not charging at a supercharger or anything like that unless I'm off on a road trip or going up to somewhere like Denver, and that's kind of where we go from there. But overall, like I said, I've had this car for over a year now, or just about a year, coming up here in a couple days, and so my thoughts on it is that I would recommend a Tesla or any type of EV to anybody at this point. This car has been absolutely amazing to drive. Like I have these same type of thoughts and commentary when I'm making videos on full self-driving. So if you're in the market for getting out of the idea of using a gas car anymore, I would recommend an electric vehicle. And obviously I'm more biased towards Teslas, being that I have one. I would never probably look back at this point, even to a point that me and my wife are talking about when her car goes. She actually just put a little bit of money into it to get her Nissan fixed, but maybe a few years down the road that we get her a Tesla as well, whether it's a new Model Y or a different type of or a different model from the Model 3S, who knows at that point. If you ask my son, he wants a Cybertruck. I don't know if that's going to happen. I would probably totally get one, but I don't think she would be necessarily too keen on having a Cybertruck. But those are my thoughts, kind of giving you a little bit of a rundown of the features that I use in this car on a daily basis. I appreciate everybody who watches the full self-driving videos I've been making. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.